Hello and welcome to my 10-minute long video essay based around the essay question of does ownership of AI created art, such as the Dancing Salesman Problem by the painting fool, belong to the AI or its progenitor? This was a piece of art created in 2013 by an AI named the Dancing Fool, which was a program designed to actually imaginatively create its own art away from its specified programming. It was one of the sort of groundbreaking first AIs to be able to use this technology instead of just using algorithms from the internet as previously done. The AI was originally created by Simon Colton, who, although created the AI, actually states that he wants it to be an artist in its own right, essentially. Within this bounds, we are sort of contemplating the emergence of sort of AI in legal and ethical questions, whether an AI is truly an artist in its own right, or whether it's its programming which associates it with its intended creativity. Even if the AI produces artwork autonomously and creatively, does this still give it the legal implications of copyright or ownership over its artwork? Within the modern age, we've recently seen, especially since the 2020s, the emergence of AI art on the internet. For instance, programs like DALL-E, which sift through the internet and essentially take other people's artwork and combine it into original art. But on the other hand of that, we also have AI art programs which are autonomously creating their own art away from their programming, or rather are being programmed to think creatively to a degree, being given emotions to which they can then create art with. Within this, there's been several books which have been studying this matter, some for good, some for bad, and some for in between. The first book, which very much helped me consider this problem, was The Artist and the Machine by Arthur Miller. This book essentially supports the rise of AI art, such as the Dancing Salesman Problem, suggesting that the future of art is within AI, which is both, can be seen as a good thing and a bad thing. The way that he speaks about the emergence of it is that in sort of a post-human world, the AI, the computer, is the inheritor of our world. So it would be wrong to try and dissuade that or to try and suppress it almost. Second to that, on the other hand, we also have Machine Vision and Warped Dreams by Joanna Zielinski. Her book, on the other end of the scale, essentially has the idea that AI art is a problem of the modern world, and that true creativity comes from the human perspective, from the human emotion from the art, and that all we're doing is creating a sort of cyber dystopia, a digital dystopia, in which all creativity eventually will be reduced to sort of a binary combination of numbers. States that the intent of art is to evoke emotions rather than to just replicate image. And in between these sort of ideas, you also have Tactical Entanglements by Martin Zillinger. This book was rather fascinating for the subject, really, especially in the context of the Dancing Salesman Problem by the painting fool, which is the idea that from legal and sort of ethical perspectives, who truly does own the art? Is it the programmer? Is it the AI artist? Or is it the art which the AI program has sort of amalgamated, essentially? Within this, he's scathing in the idea of sort of true AI, essentially, suggesting that AI needs controls put on it, and it needs to have ideas behind the art before it can truly become its own art, essentially. Although towards the end of the book, he also states that within these controls, it would be a tool which is very, very helpful for humanity to use in the future, instead of just being a sort of deterrent or a bad thing for humanity, essentially. Whilst thinking of these sort of ideas and theories, my mind also wavered onto a lot of pop culture references, which I think create this idea in our heads about our thoughts of AI and the way that they work, whether for good or for bad. For instance, the film Blade Runner is an amazing piece of literary filmography, which really shows the limit between humanity and machine, or rather, what is the difference. The main character of the film, Deckard, throughout the film starts to question whether he is truly human just because he has emotions. How does he know that he isn't synthetic? And this also leads on to the Neuromancer trilogy by William Gibson, in which AIs also would like their own citizenship, and they would like rights, and they would like to be treated as equals to humanity. Which in this current digital art world, I think it's very difficult not to have those comparisons. For instance, with the painting tool, in which if this AI has synthetic memories or synthetic emotions, who's to say that that doesn't give them rights, that doesn't give them the copyright law for their own art at the end of the day. But then on the other hand, you also have films, for instance, on the filmography, The Matrix, by the Wachowski sisters, in which it shows the complete end of the scale of sort of AIs surpassing humanity and enslaving them, which I think that we are probably quite a way off. But it's still this idea of a dystopian land in which humans are subservient to machines, which also then brings me on to my next point of the idea of a progenitor being fearful of its children, of rejecting its offspring just because it's worried that they will overthrow them or become better than them. And I don't think that this is exemplified more than in Greek mythology, to be honest, especially with the idea of the myth of Cronus and Zeus, in which Cronus was fearful that Zeus would slay him, so in turn Zeus killed Cronus, his father, which is also very reminiscent of, if you use a similar pantheon, the Roman pantheon, of Jupiter, or rather Saturn, devouring his own children because, once again, he was fearful that they would overthrow him. This is personified in Francisco Goya's Saturn devouring his son, which for me is a very visceral, very emotional painting. And if you set those ideas into the bounds of AI, where we have this idea of something we've created, something that can never be undone, almost a digital Pandora's box, then we can't get rid of it anymore. It's here to stay. So instead of fighting it, and instead of being fearful of it, just as the monks in the 15th century were afraid of the printing press replacing them, I believe that we really need to just embrace the idea, but with controls, instead of being so fearful and rejecting what we've created. So, in summary, I believe that with AI art, for instance, the Dancing Salesman Problem, at some point I believe AIs will be able to develop their own sort of synthetic emotions. And if the argument that art is emotion, or that AI art has no emotion, once we reach that boundary, will we be able to say that the ownership of the art does not belong to the AI, or does it still belong to the creator? Well, thank you very much for listening to this video essay. My name is William Howard, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.